What if the most powerful way to respond to obvious disrespect is with a calm that borders on indifference? True power isn't about winning a verbal fight. It's about demonstrating to the other person and to yourself that there is no fight to be won within your kingdom. Stay calm when disrespect is obvious. Stoicism. Compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Recognize subtle forms of disrespect. Imagine a master mariner, a captain of a great ship, who is an expert at reading the weather. An amateur sailor only recognizes the storm when the hurricane is already upon him, when the winds are howling and the waves are crashing over the deck. But the master mariner sees the storm coming long before. He notices the subtle shift in the color of the sky, the unusual pattern of the clouds on the horizon, the faint change in the swell of the sea. He recognizes the almost invisible signs that precede the tempest. This allows him to prepare his ship, secure his cargo, and set his course long before the chaos arrives. This is the inner conflict we face with disrespect. We are often excellent at recognizing the hurricane, the overt, loud, and aggressive insult. But we are amateurs when it comes to reading the weather. We fail to see the subtle, almost invisible forms of disrespect that almost always precede the major storm. These are the backhanded compliments, the sarcastic jokes, the consistent forgetfulness about things that are important to us, or the subtle act of being ignored in a group conversation. The problem is that by failing to recognize these early, subtle signs, we allow a pattern of disrespect to form and fester. We are the amateur sailor, ignoring the dark clouds on the horizon, and then acting surprised when the hurricane of a major conflict finally hits. The transformative solution is to become the master mariner of your own social seas, to learn to recognize the subtle forms of disrespect with piercing clarity. This is the foundational skill for maintaining your calm, because it allows you to prepare rather than just react. The core Stoic principle here is prosth, or vigilant, mindful attention. A Stoic trains himself to see the world as it truly is, not just as it appears on the surface. This means paying close attention not only to the words people say, but to their tone, their body language, and most importantly, the patterns of their behavior over time. By applying this mindful attention to your interactions, you learn to see the subtle weather patterns. You begin to notice that a particular person's humor always has a slight edge of contempt, or that another person's passive aggression always surfaces when they are feeling challenged. This is not about becoming paranoid. It is about becoming a wise and discerning observer of human nature. To develop this crucial perceptual skill, you must train your attention like a muscle. The first actionable step is to start listening to the music behind the words. Pay less attention to the literal words someone is saying and more attention to their tone of voice, their facial expression, and their body language. Is the tone condescending, even if the words are polite? Are their arms crossed and their jaw tight while they are agreeing with you? This music often tells the truer story. The second step is to become a pattern spotter. Don't focus on a single event. Look for recurring patterns. Does this person consistently interrupt you? Do they consistently make jokes at your expense? A single instance might be an accident. A pattern is a strategy. The third step is to trust your intuition. Your subconscious mind is a brilliant pattern recognition machine. If an interaction leaves you feeling vaguely unsettled or diminished, even if you can't logically explain why, trust that feeling. It is your internal mariner telling you that the weather is about to change. The benefits of recognizing these subtle forms are that you move from a reactive position to a proactive one. You are no longer surprised by disrespect. You see it coming from a mile away. This gives you time to prepare your inner state, to strengthen your boundaries, and to choose your response with deliberate calm. You will stop countless conflicts before they ever escalate into full-blown storms. You become the master mariner, who is never truly a victim of the weather because he is such a profound student of it. His ship is always ready because his eye is always on the horizon. Your practice for this week is to choose one relationship and pay close attention to the music behind the words. Just observe without judgment. What does the tone and body language tell you that the words do not? Once you have learned to see the subtle signs of the storm approaching, you must ensure your own vessel is strong enough to withstand it. This requires building a deep well of inner peace. Next, we will explore how to strengthen your inner calm response. To continue this journey, please like this video and subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 2. Strengthen your inner calm response. Imagine your inner state as a deep, clear lake. A perfectly calm mind is like this lake on a windless day. The surface is like glass, reflecting the world with perfect clarity. Now, imagine a stone is thrown into the lake. This stone is a disrespectful act. In a shallow, muddy pond, a single stone would churn up all the silt from the bottom, making the entire body of water murky and chaotic for a long time. This is the inner conflict of a mind that lacks a core of calm. When the stone of disrespect hits, our shallow peace is instantly shattered. All the mud from the bottom, our insecurities, our anger, our ego, is churned up, and our mind becomes a chaotic, murky mess. We lose all clarity, all perspective. The problem is that most of us are living with a very shallow lake. We have not actively worked to deepen our reserves of inner peace. We are dependent on the world, not throwing stones at us, but the world will always throw stones. A life built on the hope of a world without disrespect is a life built on a fantasy. The transformative solution is to stop worrying about the stones and to focus entirely on deepening your lake. This is the second unbreakable habit, to strengthen your inner calm response. This is the proactive, daily work of building such a deep reservoir of tranquility that when the stone of disrespect inevitably hits, it causes only a momentary ripple on the surface, while the profound depths of your peace remain completely undisturbed. The core Stoic idea here is that a calm mind is not our default state in a chaotic world. It is a state that must be diligently cultivated. The Stoics were masters of this cultivation. They used daily practices of meditation, reflection, and philosophical study to deepen the lake of their own minds. They understood that you cannot wait for the storm to hit to decide you need a stronger ship. The work must be done every day in times of calm. This inner work is what builds the resilience that allows you to absorb the shocks of life without losing your center. To begin the process of deepening your own lake, you must commit to a daily practice of stillness. The first actionable step is to establish a non-negotiable daily meditation practice. This is the most direct way to cultivate inner calm. Start with just 5 minutes a day. The goal is not to stop your thoughts, but to practice observing them without getting carried away. Every time you return your focus to your breath, you are deepening your lake. The second step is to immerse yourself in wisdom. Spend 10 minutes each day reading from the great philosophical texts that promote tranquility, the works of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Eastern philosophers. Feeding your mind with wisdom leaves less room for the weeds of anxiety and anger to grow. The third step is to practice mindful moments throughout your day. When you're drinking a cup of coffee, just drink the coffee. Feel its warmth, taste its flavor. This practice of bringing your full attention to simple moments trains your mind to be calm and present, strengthening your focus muscle. The benefits of this daily cultivation are that you will fundamentally change your baseline emotional state. You will move through the world with a new, quiet sense of peace and stability. The small annoyances that used to throw you off balance will cease to affect you. When a major act of disrespect does occur, you will be astonished at your own ability to remain centered. You will have a deep well of calm to draw upon, a resource you have been patiently building every single day. You become the deep lake, whose serenity is its most profound characteristic. The stones of the world may fall, but they are swallowed by your immense, quiet depths. Your practice for this week is to commit to just 5 minutes of silent meditation or mindful breathing every single morning before you check your phone. Start deepening your lake. A deep reserve of calm is our foundation. But when a trigger hits, we need a specific protocol to ensure we can access that calm instead of being hijacked by our emotions. Next, we will learn how to control your emotional triggers instantly. Your support helps our community grow. Please comment with one way you find your calm. Lesson 3. Control emotional triggers instantly. Imagine a highly trained warrior on the battlefield. He knows from his training that his greatest vulnerability is not the enemy's sword, but his own involuntary flinch. If he flinches at the wrong moment, he leaves himself open to a fatal blow. So, he has drilled a specific counter-move 1,000 times. The instant he perceives a threat, his body does not flinch in fear. It automatically drops into a perfectly balanced, defensive stance. His training has overridden his instinct. This is the inner conflict we face with our emotional triggers. A disrespectful comment is the opponent's lunge. Our immediate, uncontrolled emotional reaction, the surge of anger, the flush of shame, the defensive retort, is our involuntary flinch. The problem is that this flinch almost always makes the situation worse. It exposes our weakness, it gives the other person power over us, and it opens us up to further attack. We lose control of the interaction in that first split second because we have not trained a better, more disciplined reflex. We are the warrior who, despite all his strength, is constantly defeated by his own flinch. The transformative solution is to become the disciplined warrior and learn to control your emotional triggers instantly by installing a new, superior reflex. This is the third unbreakable habit. It is the practice of replacing your automatic, emotional flinch with an automatic, composed response. The core Stoic principle here is the discipline of assent. The Stoics taught that there is a brief moment between an event, the trigger, and our judgment about that event. The untrained mind closes this gap instantly, assenting to the judgment that I have been attacked and I am harmed. This assent is the flinch. A Stoic warrior trains to insert a circuit breaker into this process. He drills a new response so relentlessly that it becomes his new instinct. When the trigger occurs, instead of assenting to the feeling of being harmed, his mind automatically defaults to a state of calm observation. He doesn't have to think about it in the moment, because he has already done the thinking 1,000 times in his training. To install this new reflex, you must practice with the dedication of a true warrior. The first actionable step is to have a pattern interrupt ready. The instant you feel the physical sensation of a trigger, the heat in your chest, the tightening of your jaw, your immediate action is to change your physical state. Take one sharp, deep inhale through your nose, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. This is the physiological sigh, and it acts as an immediate brake on your body's stress response. The second step is to have a first thought mantra. You must train a new first thought to override the old one. This could be a simple phrase like observe, or I am in control, or this is external. You must repeat this mantra to yourself during your daily quiet time until it becomes second nature. The third step is to practice visualization. Every day, spend 60 seconds visualizing someone disrespecting you, and see yourself instantly and automatically deploying your new reflex, the deep breath and the calm mantra, and remaining completely composed. The benefits of this training are the closest a person can come to having an emotional superpower. You will gain the ability to stop an emotional reaction in its tracks before it can take control of you. You will be able to face direct provocations with an almost unnerving level of calm. This will give you an enormous advantage in any conflict or negotiation. You will feel a profound sense of self-mastery, the confidence of a warrior who knows he has conquered his own flinch. He is no longer afraid of his opponent's sword because he has absolute trust in his own shield. Your practice for this week is to choose your first thought mantra. Write it down. Repeat it to yourself 10 times each morning. Begin installing your new programming. Controlling your initial trigger is the battle for your body and your nerves. The next battle is for your mind, the battle against the ego's cry of being offended. Next, we will learn how to detach your ego from the sting of insults. Please like this video if you're ready to train your reflexes. Lesson 4. Detach ego from insults. Imagine a great king, sitting on his throne, wearing his royal robes and his crown. A court jester, a fool, comes before him and begins to mock him. The jester makes jokes about the king's crown, calls his robes silly, and questions his right to rule. The insecure king, whose sense of self is tied up in these external symbols, the crown and the throne, would become enraged. He would feel his very identity was under attack, and he might throw the jester in the dungeon. The wise Stoic king, however, would simply smile. He knows that his kingship is not in the crown or the robes. His kingship is in his character, his wisdom, and his virtue. The jester is not attacking him, he is attacking the superficial trappings of his office. The king's ego is not involved because his sense of self is not invested in those things. This is the inner conflict we face when we are insulted. An insult is the jester's mockery. Our ego is the insecure king who believes his crown is his identity. The problem is that when we allow our ego to be attached to external things, our reputation, our intelligence, our appearance, we become incredibly fragile. An insult directed at any of these things feels like a direct attack on our very being, and it triggers a powerful defensive and often destructive emotional response. The transformative solution is to become the wise king and learn to detach your ego from insults. This is the fourth unbreakable habit. It is the practice of anchoring your sense of self so deeply in your internal character that the words of others become as irrelevant as the jokes of a court jester. The core Stoic principle here is the understanding that your ego, your self-image, is largely a social construct built upon external things. The Stoics would urge you to let this fragile self die and to instead identify with your prohairesis, your faculty of reasoned choice, your moral character. This is the true you. When someone insults your intelligence, they are not insulting your capacity to choose virtuously. When they insult your appearance, they are not insulting your ability to act with courage. Their words literally cannot touch the real you unless you choose to believe they can. Detaching the ego is the act of consciously refusing to believe them. To achieve this powerful detachment, you must perform a kind of psychological surgery on your own sense of self. The first actionable step is to create a list of things that are not me. On a piece of paper, write down the things your ego is attached to. My job title, my reputation, my intelligence, my appearance, my possessions. Look at this list and repeat to yourself, these things are external to me. They are preferred, but they are not my true self. The second step is to practice negative agreement. This is an advanced technique. When someone insults you, instead of defending, you can calmly and even humorously agree with the grain of truth in their statement. If someone calls your old car a piece of junk, you can laugh and say, "You're right, it has seen better days." This completely disarms the insult by showing your ego is not attached to the car. The third step is to focus on your own virtuous response. The insult is an opportunity to practice the virtues of patience, forgiveness, and magnanimity. Your goal is not to defend your ego, but to build your character. The benefits of detaching your ego are a profound and liberating sense of invulnerability. You will find that it is almost impossible for people to offend you, because you are no longer identified with the things they are attacking. This will bring an incredible lightness and freedom to your social interactions. You will be able to engage with difficult people with a newfound sense of playfulness and compassion. You become the wise king, amused by the antics of the court, secure in the knowledge that his true power lies not in his crown, but in his character. The jester's jokes are meaningless because the king knows who he truly is. Your practice is to identify one thing your ego is attached to. For one day, mentally practice letting go of it. See it as an external thing, separate from your true self. Once you have detached your ego, you have cleared the path for a truly powerful and dignified response. You are no longer reacting from a place of being wounded. Next, we will explore how to respond to disrespect with unshakable Stoic composure. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue this journey to invulnerability. Lesson 5. Respond with Stoic composure. Imagine a master swordsman in a duel. His opponent, wild and undisciplined, swings his blade with furious, aggressive rage. The master swordsman does not meet this rage with equal rage. He does not become sloppy or panicked. Instead, he becomes even more calm, more centered, more precise. He uses his opponent's chaotic energy against him, parrying the wild swings with minimal, economical movements, and waiting for the inevitable opening created by his opponent's lack of control. His composure is his most lethal weapon. It allows him to think clearly, to act effectively, and to dominate the exchange without ever losing his own form. This is the inner conflict we face when deciding how to respond to disrespect. We have successfully controlled our initial trigger and detached our ego. Now, we must choose our action. The temptation is often to win the exchange, to put the other person in their place with a clever comeback or a display of superior logic. The problem is that even this can be a form of reaction. It can still be driven by a subtle need to prove ourselves. It can still escalate the conflict. We are still letting the other person set the terms of the engagement. We are still fighting their game. The transformative solution is to become the master swordsman and learn to respond with stoic composure. This is the fifth unbreakable habit. It is the art of choosing a response that is not designed to win the immediate battle, but to demonstrate your own superior character and to maintain your own inner peace. It is the final expression of your self-mastery. The core Stoic principle here is that every interaction is an opportunity to practice virtue. When someone disrespects you, they have presented you with a golden opportunity to practice courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. Your response, therefore, should not be tailored to beating them. It should be tailored to being the most virtuous and effective version of yourself. A composed response is one that is calm, rational, and aligned with your highest principles. It is the response of a king, not a brawler. To craft a response of stoic composure, you must have a few strategic options in your arsenal. The first actionable step is the use of strategic silence. As we've discussed, often the most powerful response is no response at all. Meeting a disrespectful comment with calm, unwavering, silent eye contact communicates more strength and dismissal than any words ever could. It tells the other person, your move was so amateurish, it does not even warrant a counter move from me. The second step is the use of calm, disarming humor. A genuinely witty and self-deprecating comment that makes light of the insult can completely neutralize its power. It shows that you are so unfazed that you find the situation amusing. The third step is the simple, firm restatement of a boundary. If the disrespect crosses a line you have set, you do not need to get angry. You simply state, as I've said, I'm not willing to continue a conversation when it involves personal insults. I'm going to leave now. This is not a reaction. It is the calm enforcement of your own law. The benefits of responding with composure are that you will always maintain the moral high ground and your own self-respect. You will find that you can de-escalate conflicts that would have previously turned into major arguments. You will build a reputation as a person of immense emotional strength and dignity, someone who cannot be provoked or drawn into petty games. You become the master swordsman, who wins every duel not by being more aggressive, but by being more disciplined, more intelligent, and more in command of himself. His opponents defeat themselves with their own chaotic energy. Your practice is to choose one of these composed responses, silence, humor, or a boundary statement, and make a commitment to try it the next time you are faced with a minor form of disrespect. A composed response often involves setting or reinforcing a boundary, but this must be done with a specific kind of energy to be effective. Next, we will learn how to protect your boundaries without a trace of aggression. If you are finding value in this guide, please like the video to show your support. Lesson 6. Protect boundaries without aggression. Imagine the wise king of a prosperous and peaceful kingdom. He has built strong walls and clear gates, his boundaries. One day, a foreign envoy arrives and disrespectfully demands entry at a forbidden time. The king's guards could respond in one of two ways. They could respond with aggression, immediately drawing their swords and attacking the envoy, creating an international incident. Or they could respond with calm, assertive strength. They could simply bar the gate, lower the portcullis, and state firmly, the king's law states that this gate is closed until dawn. You may wait or you may leave. This response is not angry. It is not aggressive. It is simply the calm, immovable enforcement of a pre-existing rule. It is an expression of the kingdom's order, not its rage. This is the inner conflict we face when we need to enforce our boundaries in the face of disrespect. Our instinct, especially if our adrenaline is up, can be to enforce the boundary with anger and aggression. We say no with a sharp, hostile tone. We defend our space with a verbal attack. The problem is that aggression is a sign of weakness, not strength. It signals that you have lost control of your own emotional state. While it may get you what you want in the short term, it damages relationships, erodes respect, and ultimately makes you look like a tyrant, not a king. The transformative solution is to learn to protect your boundaries without aggression. This is the sixth unbreakable habit. It is the art of enforcing your limits with the calm, immovable, and non-emotional energy of the King's Guard. The core Stoic principle here is that the most powerful action is always a rational one. Aggression is a passion, an emotion that clouds reason. A calm, firm boundary, on the other hand, is the height of rationality. It is not personal, it is procedural. It is not an attack on the other person. It is a defense of your own well-ordered space. A high-value man understands this distinction perfectly. He knows that his boundaries are the laws of his personal kingdom, and he enforces them like a just and powerful king, not with angry outbursts, but with the quiet, unyielding force of his own will. To master this non-aggressive enforcement, you must focus on your delivery and your mindset. The first actionable step is to see your boundary as a simple statement of fact, not as a personal conflict. You are not arguing with the person. You are simply informing them of your policy. This mental shift will remove the emotional charge from your delivery. The second step is to master a calm, neutral tone of voice. Practice saying your boundary phrases out loud when you are alone. Hear the difference between an angry no and a calm, firm no. The tone makes all the difference. The third step is to have a broken record technique ready. If the person continues to push after you have stated your boundary, you do not need to get angry or engage in a debate. You simply, calmly repeat the boundary. As I said, I'm not going to discuss this. Again, my decision is final. This calm repetition signals that you are an immovable object. The benefits of protecting your boundaries without aggression are immense. You will find that you can maintain your standards and protect your peace without creating unnecessary conflict or damaging your relationships. People will learn that your no is a solid wall, not a declaration of war, and they will respect it. You will build a deep sense of self-trust, knowing that you can handle any transgression with grace and strength. You become the King's Guard, who is respected and feared not for his rage, but for his calm, disciplined, and unbreachable defense of the gate. His strength is so profound that he rarely needs to even draw his sword. Your practice is to identify one boundary you need to enforce. Rehearse saying it out loud in a calm, firm, and neutral tone until it feels natural. When you can calmly and consistently defend your boundaries, you have set the stage for the final and most powerful transformation. You can now use disrespect itself as a tool for your own growth. In our final lesson, we will learn how to transform disrespect into self-mastery. Please subscribe to our channel to complete your Stoic training. Lesson 7. Transform disrespect into self-mastery. Imagine the great oak tree we have spoken of, standing for centuries on its hill. It has endured thousands of storms. Each storm has stripped it of leaves, and some have even broken its smaller branches. A lesser being might see this as a history of damage and loss. But the oak tree has used every single storm to its advantage. Each gust of wind has forced it to grow its roots deeper into the earth. Each bolt of lightning that scarred its bark has made the remaining wood harder and more resilient. The tree has not just survived the disrespect of the storms, it has used the energy of those storms to become more undeniably itself, more powerful, more deeply rooted. It has transformed assault into architecture. This is the final and most profound stage of dealing with disrespect. The inner conflict is that we see disrespect as a purely negative event, a wound, a loss. We believe the goal is simply to defend against it or to heal from it. The problem with this view is that it's still defensive. It still gives the disrespect the power to be a negative force in our lives. We are still reacting to it, even if our reaction is a healthy one. The highest form of power is not to just defend against a force, but to harness it. The final, unbreakable habit is to learn to transform disrespect into self-mastery. This is the ultimate Stoic alchemy. It is the practice of viewing every single instance of disrespect not as an attack to be endured, but as a priceless opportunity to be utilized for your own growth. The core principle here is, again, the obstacle is the way. The Stoics believe that the universe is a perfect training ground, and every challenge it sends us is a custom-designed exercise for our soul. Disrespect, in this light, is not a curse. It is a gift. It is a free, high-intensity training session. It is a chance to practice your composure, to test your boundaries, to observe your ego, and to strengthen your commitment to your own virtues. A true Stoic king does not just want to get through a disrespectful encounter. He seeks to exit that encounter a slightly better, stronger, and wiser man than he was when he entered it. He uses the friction of the world to polish his own character. To become this master alchemist, you must see disrespect as your personal gym. The first actionable step is to adopt the mindset of gratitude. When disrespected, after your initial calm response, silently say to yourself, "Thank you for this opportunity to practice my patience and my composure. I needed this workout." This reframe is a game changer. The second step is to use the disrespect as a diagnostic tool. The specific nature of the disrespect often shines a light on your own insecurities. If a comment about your intelligence bothers you, it is a signal to become more secure in your own intellect through study. If a comment about your finances bothers you, it is a signal to get your own financial house in order. The insult reveals the next area for your self-mastery work. The third step is to use the disrespect as a chance to practice compassion. Try to see the weak, insecure, and wounded person behind the disrespectful words. Their need to belittle you is a reflection of their own inner poverty. Responding to their weakness with your strength is the ultimate display of a superior character. The benefit of this final transformation is that you become truly invincible. Nothing can harm you because you have learned to transform all harm into help. You will move through the world with a joyful, courageous spirit, unafraid of conflict or criticism, because you see it all as fuel for your own fire. You will achieve a state of profound self-mastery, because you will be constantly learning and growing from every single interaction. You become the great oak tree, whose immense strength and gnarled beauty are a direct result of the thousand storms it has endured and transformed. Your final practice is a commitment. Commit, from this day forward, to view every act of disrespect not as an insult, but as a lesson. After each encounter, your only question will be, what did I learn? How did I grow stronger? To stay calm when disrespected is not to be passive or weak. It is the ultimate display of a mind in command of itself, a character rooted in unshakable self-worth, and a spirit that has learned the alchemy of turning the world's poison into its own power. Thank you for dedicating your time to this journey into the heart of Stoic strength. The ability to remain calm in the face of disrespect is the mark of a truly free and powerful mind. If this guide has provided you with value, please like the video, comment with the lesson that was most impactful for you, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion for more wisdom on the path to an unshakable life.